And we're live.
We're
like
showing
Glenn-
our face again.
I know, we're back.
I'm proud of us.
Me
It's
too.
one of
Me
those
too.
things. If you're in the chat, tell us what you're reading. Hey, Deja. Is it cold for you in North Carolina? Like, did the weather just like do a drum kick? Okay.
Oh, yes. It was just like we woke up and it was extremely cold.
So, what was it? Thursday,
Mhm.
the weather dropped. Friday, it was like, what is happening? And
Mhm.
Saturday, it was like, I'm not leaving the house. And then today, it was like the
Mhm.
most beautiful day ever.
I think I went outside to walk the dogs. It was quite cold this morning. We haven't been out yet because I have this thing where I don't take them out until absolutely necessary because it's been cold.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Today was a really good weather.
Arthur Sylvester Barisi says they're reading The Stand by Stephen King.
Okay, cool. Yeah. If I had a patio set up, I would have definitely been recording this video from my patio. I just don't have any patio furniture because that's how good of a day it's been.
Really?
It was like mid-60s, partly cloudy. Just ugh. Deja says I'm reading A Song of Blood and Stone. It's all right, but I feel like the second book will be better.
Okay.
A Song of Blood and Stone is by who? To be honest, there are so many books that start off with a song of that I have to have the author.
What are those books that they made into TV shows?
That doesn't answer it either.
You know what I mean? That really intense TV show that was like was it on HBO?
Are you talking about
Game
House
of
of
Thrones?
Dragons?
It sounds like a Game of Thrones book.
Oh.
But I'm probably wrong.
Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Because don't Game of Thrones books kind of sound like that? Have those type of titles?
Game of Thrones also has those titles, but there are so many A Song of books now.
That's true.
So.
Oh, El Penelope.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
It's the short book.
Yeah,
it's on
I
my
know
shelf
exactly.
and I haven't read it yet.
I know exactly what series this is now.
Yeah. I already know. I see the cover and everything. But I do know I said I was gonna probably it's that one and the one by C.L. Clark that I was like, I feel like I'm gonna wait until the whole series is over. Like I'm gonna buy the books, but I'm gonna wait till the whole series is over to read the books. So that I can just jump right into the next book and not have to worry about pausing or waiting a whole year and a half and all that stuff because I'm lazy and I am so impatient with these sequels. I used to not read books as soon as they came out. I used to just buy them, but now I've fallen into the dark side.
That's how I am. I have to wait until all the books are out. I can't do the long wait and then you have to reread the book again because you don't remember things. It just seems pointless. So I just usually wait till the whole series is out. But I'm reading the audiobook Spare by Prince Harry.
Whoa. You and the rest of the book world.
It's very interesting. And like, on one hand, I find it very interesting how people are so determined to have like zero empathy for him because he's royal, which is a very interesting take. And I understand it, but at the same time, I don't understand it because I feel like people pick and choose what rich and famous people they want to feel sorry for. And for whatever reason, he has fallen into the side of like, no, we don't care about your struggles.
It's because he is the visual representation of British imperialism and colonialism.
Oh, 100%. I 100% exactly understand that. But I just find it like the social discourse fascinates me. The book so far is entertaining.
I mean, I assumed it was because it was called Spare. Isn't that what they called him?
Yeah, they called him the Spare.
Yeah, so it's like the moment I saw the title, I was like, okay.
There are a lot of things that I learned that made me feel like the royal family is psychotic. It's like I already knew this, But learning certain factors for sure is very strange because they like to pretend like they're just a family like everyone else. You know, they're trying to be relatable, like we're just a family. And I'm like, okay, so for example, there's this one anecdotal story that Harry tells about apparently Prince Charles grew up in a very harsh way. His parents shipped him off to boarding school, but not any boarding school. They sent him to like a boarding school that was known for being like very bad in terms of how the boys treated each other. And they sent him there because they wanted to toughen him up because he was too soft and sensitive and artsy.
Oh.
And he was bullied so badly while he was going there that he alludes to the fact that he almost took his own life. But that's neither here nor there. So there's this story about Prince Charles being a kid. He's like 5 years old. And the queen goes on one of her, little imperialism tours that she loves to go on in a third world country. And then she comes back. And keep in mind, this is his mom. She's been gone for like months and months or weeks and weeks, however long, a long time for a 5-year-old. She greets him not with a hug, a kiss, my boy, like I missed you, with a handshake. Apparently Charles had never hugged his mom, never gotten a kiss from his mom, never gotten a kiss from the dad, the Nazi one, his name. I just
forgot his name.
People want us to forget that he was a Nazi, but I just refuse. Philip, I think.
Oh, yes. The royal Nazi. That's what I called him.
So he had never gotten any affection from Philip either. No hugs, no kisses. And there was apparently a huge scandal because Princess Diana tried to hug the queen once. And everybody just like froze and it became very awkward. And everybody was like, because apparently you don't like touch the queen. Like maybe a kiss on the cheek, but not even the cheek that like you don't touch her cheek.
Like
it's an
air around her cheek.
In the vicinity.
Yeah, no thanks. Y'all keep enjoying that book. I will watch everybody's like thoughts and review videos and stuff about the book, but I don't really see a need to read the book, basically.
It's not necessary. I'm doing it because I love gossip, and watching the royal family unravel is one of the greatest sociological.
You sound like my friend. She was like, I'm literally reading it because I know Harry about to be messy. And I was like, ma'am, like she's not even a reader. That's the part that cracks me up. Like she read Michelle Obama's book. She read Cicely Tyson's book.
Of course.
She listened to Mariah Carey because I told her to. But this book, she went to the bookstore on her own and picked it up because she said she's just here for the mess. And Harry's been about the mess since he married Meghan. So
from a sociologic standpoint, this family institution, as Harry calls them, has been basically without any cracks in their foundation. Princess Diana caused a little crack. They paved that shit over so quick. Like even the book, like when he talks about his mom's death, literally after the funeral, it was like back to business as usual. They like didn't mourn her. Nobody talked about her. They're like, all right, well, we have a trip to, coming up to here and the boys are going to go to school. Like they just treated it like it was just like moving on, moving on to the next. And so I find it absolutely fascinating from a sociological standpoint that they are now unraveling so quickly that I'm just like, this is amazing to watch. I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. Just enjoying it.
Yeah. It's the world of reality. It's reality TV, but in a book. Well, that's interesting. But I mean, while I hope y'all are enjoying reading Spare, today we are here to talk about Naomi, season 1 specifically. So if you have like the other parts of this, I think part 2 is out. I think
it is.
We're only talking about part 1.
Yes.
This is basically like her intro, her like origin story, like that kind of part. It is by Brian Michael Bendis, David F. Walker, and illustrated, I think, by Jamal Campbell. I love the illustrations. I will say that. Thank you for giving
I really enjoyed the illustrations as well.
Thank you for giving my girl color.
I just love the illustrations because I feel like each character really fit their personality, the way they looked.
Yes.
The way they were presented fit the personality of the character. Like
Yes.
everyone from Naomi herself, her best friend Annabelle, her parents, Dee, just everyone. It made sense.
Yeah. So my first question to you is, after reading this, do you want to read more? Or is this good for you?
I do want to read more just because I need to know how they're going to handle that Z guy. I can't say his whole name, but it starts with a Z. When he
Oh,
comes back.
I never remember his name either. Like I wrote it down on a piece of paper because he's,
But
out here causing chaos.
but when he comes back, I'm very curious to see, and I'm curious to see the development of the relationship between Dee and the adoptive parents, Dee, Naomi, and the adoptive parents. And maybe it's just the hopeless romantic in me, but I hope that Dee's girlfriend isn't dead and she comes back into the story somehow.
Wow.
I
You're all
do.
optimistic. So nice.
That story made me sad. That story made me so sad. I was like, oh. I mean, I know she's
Listen,
probably
so
dead, but I just hoped.
yeah, I was gonna say, as lovely and as beautiful as that sounds, maybe she's not dead. Maybe she's in a different dimension. So wait, before we go into that, the story of Naomi is about a young Black girl who discovers that while she is adopted, there's so much more to her adoption story than what has been told to her. So, on top of having this huge obsession with Superman, she also realizes that she's actually more similar to Superman than she realizes. It is in the same universe as Superman in I'm going to call it the main timeline. I don't know how much like comic we're gonna get into this. Like she's in the same timeline currently, but she's technically, I think she's from Earth 29, I think.
I don't even know what any of this stuff means.
So
So if nobody else
basically,
does, you're not alone.
yeah, I was say so. I'll do a short version. So you know how with Marvel right now they're talking about like the quantum realm, and they're talking about all the different timelines and stuff after Endgame.
Yeah.
Or if you watched Loki, then you remember like the TVA and them trying to keep everything on like the main
Mm-hmm.
timeline. So the main
Mm-hmm.
timeline is where we are in this book, but she is actually from a different timeline or a different universe. So like they exist on during this they exist basically like this. But in some timelines you're able to travel through universes, and her timeline was able to travel to the other universe that she now lives in. So I had to
Gotcha.
look that up because apparently we love universe hopping. We love universe hopping in comics, and we love having like different iterations of characters in comics. That's why we've got a Black Superman in the first place. Um, so it's like, okay, well, how are y'all gonna throw Naomi in? Because she is completely new. I thought that she was like a reboot of another character, but she is 100% new, which obviously she's young, she's Black,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and she's got thighs. Oh, and she's fully covered up.
I know. I
Because
appreciated that. I mean, because she's
yeah,
also a child,
yeah.
so I would hope that she'd be fully covered up because she's a kid.
I mean, literally in the back cover, you see girls, you see the outfits of the other girls, of the other superhero women. Where like they're super magical, but all they wear is a leotard. Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman.
Basically.
So basically, Naomi is this chick. Naomi is a typical teenager. I don't know what it is like to be adopted, but I know what it's like to be a teenager and to want to know something and everybody keep it away from you.
Mm.
So I feel like I understand Naomi in that sense, but at the same time, I really needed Naomi to get grounded because she was
What?
wilding.
Well, only for a short time.
I
It's like
mean,
that where
you're like,
it's like
only for
that.
a short time.
Yeah, because she seemed like a pretty good kid, and then she kind of caught on to something that was going on, and she was like, "Wait a second, I need to know this." I really liked that therapy was a part of her story, and she was seeing a therapist. We don't know why she was seeing a therapist. We don't know if it was something her parents did for her because she is adopted, and she's like, that's just like a nice thing to do for your child when they're adopted, or if there was something else that happened in her story that predates the beginning of the comic that necessitated her to go to, to um, to have therapy. I'm not sure, but I liked that. I thought that was really unique and really refreshing, that she had like this third party person that could objectively kind of help her unravel her thoughts and her emotions and kind of get everything straightened out in her mind. So I enjoyed that part of the comic a lot.
I mean,
Short as it
yeah,
was.
putting her in therapy for being adopted, fantastic. But like keeping the entire story of why or how she was adopted, it was like, are we really going to, yeah.
It definitely
Like,
gave me Superman vibes, and how they like
yeah.
hid the story from him until he was old enough to the point where it was so obvious, like, yo, like I have superhuman strength, like what's going on. So I think that they kept it away from her for as long as they possibly could until she started asking questions, and it was like she was gonna find out eventually on her own. And so they were like, okay, we have to tell her now. And she like snuck out of the house. That was ballsy.
Again, she needed to get grounded. Like, she was wilding. Like, I'm
Oh,
trying
man.
to find the part where she ends up going, what is his name? The big guy, the big mechanic
D.
dude? D.
D.
Listen, he hurt my that whole drawing sequence that was drawn where it showed him with his bae and like they're getting ready to like jump into the next universe, and then like it is a very like, that's why I said like you're such an optimist, because the picture is like a straight through and through. I was like, I would watch, like I feel like this would be like, if they stick true to the comic, I would totally watch. But I think Naomi is on CW, and we all know CW doesn't stick to anything.
They don't.
So it's
That just
like,
broke my heart because D just seems so tortured and so
right.
alone. Like with him in that little mechanic shop, nobody else is there. I was like, oh my God, D, are you
But
alone?
also like her parents reaction to finding her with him, especially the mom, where she like knocked him upside the head with a
That was
bat
over the
and
top.
like everything. I was like, imagine if you were the kid in this situation and your meek, chill mom rolled up on this dude and just quacked him upside the head with the bat. Also, keep in mind, he didn't really flinch when
He
she hit him
didn't.
with the bat. But when she backhanded him, then he kind of responded. And then the whole car ride after that, she's like, Mom, what is happening? They're like having a whole
Yeah.
conversation in front. I was like, okay, so this is just a moment. That like my adoptive white parents
Mm-hmm.
just rolled up, put me in the back of a car, and are having a conversation about me. Like, we have to show her. We have to show her. We can't keep the secret anymore. Listen, I'm not trying to say that I would have probably duck and rolled out that car and ran away from my parents. I'm just saying, like, it just didn't add up. Like, think about it. It's
Let's
like,
just
hold on,
say it was
I have the
major.
page.
It was major Get Out vibes. Major Get Out vibes, to the point where when she got out of the car with her dad, and then the mom was like, I'm not coming. This is between you and your dad. And the dad starts walking off, and Naomi literally is looking at him like he's going to murder her. And he's like, I'm your dad. Like, I'm not going to kill you. Like, I've kept you alive for 17 years. I used to change your diapers. I used to take care of you. Like, I'm not going to kill you. Like, what? The fact that he even had to say that.
I was like, the fact that there had to be comforting words, I'm like, I feel like maybe we should address that, because
That was
this is
hilarious.
her adoptive parents for her entire life. And then they put her in the car and start like freaking out. And then she's like, are y'all going to kill me? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm. That was like
so what
such,
happened to the connection of the parents? It
right.
just,
That was such a leap. I was like, yeah, that was a bit, that was a bit jarring. I thought it was going to be more like, you guys are scaring me. What is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with you? Is someone dying? I thought it was going to take that down, go down that road. Not like, are you
right.
trying to kill me?
Right. I was just like, so she's like what, 16 or 17?
She's
These
17
have been her only parental units for her entire life,
since day
who love
one.
her and stuff. So like, where was the, like, there was no, like, I the pictures depicted that he had like a gentle look on his face and stuff. And like that still wasn't reassuring for her. Like she still thought he was gonna try to kill her. I was like, I kind of wanted, I feel like for them to have such a long time relationship that maybe they could have, I don't know, made it seem more humor, because it just seemed too serious. It seemed like he was dead serious that like they were going to try to get rid of her or something. And I'm like,
I agree.
that doesn't make sense for her to have been in a loving, happy home for 17 years. And then, yes, everything is kind of freaking out, but like to just immediately jump to like, you're going to kill me, Dad. I'm like, what? I was like,
but I also saw it as like, but here's another thing. Why was she so quick to take evil Z dude's hand and jump into the other universe? You know what I'm saying? Like she was so quick to leave behind her adoptive parents, everything she'd ever known, to go into the unknown with the man that she knew killed her parents, into this other world. It's like she was so desperate to find her real parents by any means necessary. So it's like, what that reiterates is like her adoptive parents obviously adopted her and loved her, but there's still that like yearning that she feels inside of her to find her quote unquote real parents, like her biological parents. And then like having to come into I guess accept that he killed them, I suppose.
I think also because remember, they do make a point to point out that she's obsessed with Superman. And like even in their session, they point out that like she likes Superman because she's adopted, but like she also has this like feeling of like believing that she's supposed to be more than what she is.
Yeah.
Like she's like that obsession has turned into almost like a, not a hero complex, but like her feeling like she's meant to do something more. So it's like, think about it. She finally gets the story from Dean. Then her parents freak out, take her to a cave where her dad reveals that like he's technically not even from this like world, and is where she learns that she is not from this world either, that she is actually from a different universe, and like her parents are only dead because they tried to protect her. Then she also learns that like their whole backstory, she learns all of this in one night. Like this isn't like multiple days of discovery. This is all one night. And then that same night, her powers are activated.
It's a lot that happens in just like a couple hours.
Yeah, this comic, but like it started off where like 1 or 2 days, and then like one night it like all blew up. So it's like
one thing I really loved. Well, when you put it like that, it makes sense. One thing I really loved was her relationship with her best friend Annabelle.
Yeah,
I found that to be so. It was so pure and cute, and just like, so I don't know, just like what you would want every best friendship to kind of go and look like. Like she tells Annabelle her story, and Annabelle is just like, whoa, and just like believes her immediately, and like doesn't really question it, and is just like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Like if this was turned into a, you know how like we love certain side characters in Marvel, like Daphne's character from Thor. We love Wong. We love certain side characters. If this had become a movie, we would love Annabelle's character.
Yes, we would. And just
Annabelle was like, oh my God, you're amazing. This is great. I'm like, y'all are reacting to these things like way different than I expected. At least like freaked out a little bit. Annabelle was like, bet my friend's a super.
Yeah. She was like, I'm loving this. Annabelle was just very caring. Like even before Naomi found out all this, when she initially was freaking out and trying to find out things, and Annabelle was like, what's going on? Are you okay? And Naomi's like having like a breakdown, and Annabelle's like, I know what you need, and just gives her this huge hug. I was like,
yeah. I was like, friends, y'all are cute.
It was just really cute. I loved it. Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about the comic, was their relationship. I also really love Dee, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I mean, but that's because I felt so bad for him. Like I wanted to just give him a hug and be like, it's okay, dude. Like, yeah. You're stuck here. Yeah, you don't really have a way to get back. Yeah, you have no one to get back to. And nobody here wants to
nobody. You had nobody.
I just wanted to like,
that was sad. That was sad.
Okay, so here's the part. I have to read it because obviously. So this is the story of her parents, just
Okay.
in case anybody is wondering. Because I feel like this is important before I say what I need to say. Okay. It says by the time Bree had, or not Bree, Naomi had, once she finally realized like who her adoptive dad was, he showed her and told her that like he found her and like he knew that she came from a different earth and like showed her what she came with. And when she touched it, her mom's voice was embedded, her biological mom's voice was embedded in it. And so she heard her mom's voice tell the story. And so by the time you get this, maybe they will. I hope they do know of us. I hope it inspires you to take what I'm saying very seriously. I'm not an expert in any of this by any means. It had to be explained to me and now I'm explaining it to you. Other Earths. I don't know how many there are, but I have been told by someone who knows that there are a few. And the one you have grown up on is very similar to the one you were born to. But the difference between the two Earths is something we call the crisis. Years ago, from abuse and neglect, the natural protective layers that surrounded the Earth collapsed. Because honestly, in multiple worlds and multiple scenarios, there's always some type of global warming message thrown into here that makes me laugh. It says, we were all warned it could happen over and over for years. Those who were in charge of deciding such things chose to ignore the warnings. But when the ozone layer fell, we discovered after the fact, it was just one of a handful of layers that disappeared that day. We didn't have the science to understand what we were doing to the earth and how much it was protecting us from the things we could not control. On the day new radiation's energies bathed the whole world, radiations that again science didn't even know existed. The crisis itself only lasted a minute, but when it was over, our world was changed forever. Then it says, no one was hurt by the radiation. Not hurt, but 29 random people all over the world, completely random. All of us were granted instant access to all of our natural gifts, which means godlike powers. And please, baby, please, know these are not my words, but it was more power than any of the superheroes in our movies. And there may have been more of us. Maybe some never came forward. But the power of the 29 had changed everything. It was the kind of power that we instantly all knew that if any of us so choose to, we could now control the world. And some of them really wanted to. Some of us really did not. And I was like,
because it sounds like she and the guy that she met who eventually became her husband, just wanted to live
yes,
a normal life and just like
they did. But with great power comes great responsibility because of the 29, there was one guy that obviously was like, because he was an
the fact
ex-con. He wasn't
that
an
he
ex-con.
was minutes away from the electric chair. I'm like, damn, they couldn't have waited a couple more minutes so he could. Like, gosh, the timing.
You're like, no. Yeah, it was Zumbado. There it is.
There we go. I just call him Mr. Z.
Mr. Z, yeah. On the day of the crisis, he was on his way to the electric chair for mass murder of
like,
all
damn,
the people in the world. This man committed mass murder before he had powers.
That's not good.
Then y'all gave him godlike, unlocked his natural abilities, which were godlike powers.
To kill. His natural abilities to kill lots and lots of people.
Nothing more than let's go for more mass murder.
Basically.
So
see, I thought like, he was. Can you show the first illustration they have of him? Because I could have sworn he was black.
Oh, hold on. It's like chapter 5.
I could have sworn.
I mean, now that you're saying it, now I'm like, is he black? Where are you? Okay, so that's when she shows her powers. Okay, so the story part. Oh my goodness. Sorry guys, we're going backwards. I know it's the story. Like I just had the page. I took the sticky tab out. Never take the sticky tab out when you're in the middle of discussions. Okay, there it goes. So
Like the way they
technically
illustrated
the first illustration is right here.
Yeah,
Technically. So you think he's black?
I thought he was.
I don't know. I mean,
Especially his face.
maybe his hair.
He's
Yeah.
definitely a person of color because they said 29 people from all over the world.
Yes.
But
See,
what other countries have the electric chair though? Isn't that a distinct American thing?
in our universe, it is.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah. So we're gonna look at the other picture. Now Oshley has brought up something. I'm all for the diversity of color. The only thing, how do I put this? So I hope that if they continue to do this series, I hope that they don't do what they do to a lot of the black female superheroes that they already have in DC and in Marvel. And they have a tendency to do this thing where they fit all the tropes of a strong black woman. And like it, to me, it obviously diminishes their character, or they make them like so lovesick that they don't like have power anymore.
I definitely
Okay.
think the strong black woman thing is probably going to happen because it's a comic written by men.
Yeah. I want to believe, I want to tell myself, no, it's not. But you're right. It's a flaw. Okay. So she ends up getting sucked in by old dude. See, I don't know because they make a purpose. They really work really hard not to show his face. Like they
They
work really hard.
do.
Like in
It's
every
always in
shot of him,
shadow. It's
you
always
do
in
not see his face.
shadow and like very dark. Lots of purples and dark colors being used.
He's not
Mm-hmm.
shown again. So yeah, in all of these shots, he's got long, like
That long
rope,
tentacle things.
the long tentacles, which I thought was hair until just now.
I saw them as tentacles. I was like, oh, he has tentacles. Weird.
Yeah, now that you're saying it, now I'm just like,
because
also
he like
to be
use those
fair,
tentacles to like swing him back into the portal or whatever.
Yeah, but also I wanted to point out another point is, she didn't just jump in with Dr. Z. She didn't know who he was at first. He lied to her at first. Yeah, like in the book, he lied to her to get her to come.
He said,
like,
I'm a friend of your parents, right? Or something.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, because she didn't know what he looked like.
Right. And then when she asked him, like, who are you? He told her, and that's when she flipped out. And that's when it was like, you killed my parents. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Also, Vina is correct. Even in books written by women, they go for the strong black woman route. And
they do.
I think it's because I want to retire the phrase strong black woman so much that it just aggravates me, because obviously we are more than just strong, because
it's
the way
annoying.
that they use strong in these stories are not good.
Well, the way they use strong is, I can take all the trauma. Please continue to abuse me. Keep the trauma on. Like, that's the way they use the strong thing. Whereas with the other female superheroes, they're still allowed to be vulnerable. They're still allowed to need help. They're still allowed to break down. They're still made to be sympathetic in their strength.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's like they make them one-dimensional, and then they also make them the punching bag for everyone, where they're like, apparently, oh, I can take everything. And it's like, I'm not saying they're going to do that with Naomi. I think because she has a very strong support system, what I'm hoping is that they continue to let her be, one, a kid, because she did some real kid things here. But also, two, like, I hope that they give her the space to, like, be an emotional person.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, like, she's 17. There's so much we can do with this. I know that there's a CW thing, but I don't watch the CW for much of anything. it's like, I want to keep reading it. I'm going to keep reading it. I don't know how I feel about it right now, just because I'm worried that
it's
they're going to trope her.
a 3-star for me right now. It's a 3.
I think it's a solid 3 because it's a good introduction. Oh yeah. See, the CW, first of all, the CW show got canceled. They canceled everything on the CW.
Everything always gets canceled.
That's partly because what's his name is trying to do a new DCU. So he's like scrapping everything that was being done already, which is, I'm not happy with it because they already told my bae Henry Cavill that he's no longer Superman. So I'm already against it.
Wait,
and they also,
why?
Yeah. So, oh, you didn't hear? So basically, you know how bae, aka Henry Cavill, was doing The Witcher? So he stopped doing The Witcher because they're no longer going to stick to canon. And like they're going to veer off and do their own thing. So he's like, not really down with that. But then he like made an announcement that he was coming back as Superman. And we were all hella excited. And then like shortly after, he basically was like, yeah, you know, they changed their mind. They're going to go for a different direction with the DCU. And apparently now they want to focus on like him as a Superman, as a young man. I'm like, didn't we get that in Smallville? Like, I'm tired of young Superman. I'm tired. But you know who did not get canceled or a movie got canceled? You know whose movie is still in possible for production?
Who?
Ezra.
Wait, who?
Flash. Ezra. Their movie is still up, despite them being a freaking psycho.
No one's excited about that.
No. So it's just like, I don't know what direction they're going to go.
Isn't that actor like a horrible person?
Yes, they are. They are a horrible person. Yes.
I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. Like, I want to be optimistic, but again, because they canceled everything, it's very possible that they're going to not include Naomi at all. Because, how do I put this?
She's not important enough for them right now.
It's being created by a bunch of white men who were the same white men that when Wonder Woman was put in someone else's movie, Wonder Woman and the Amazonians were basically in bikinis. You know, like the DC, or like what I want them to do is I want them to just make everything animated. DC animated, top tier, fantastic. Yeah. DC live action,
yeah. It hasn't been a good experience.
No. And it's like they're trying to copy the Marvel formula without doing
outright copying the Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, just copy the process, bro. Give us true introductory videos, movies, and like do that if you're gonna do it. But otherwise, like, you could literally sink all of your money into DC animated and I would give you all my coins.
Yeah.
Like, Young Justice is still one of the Young Justice season 1 and Young Justice season 2 are still like 2 top tier comic television. Top tier. Like, I think of like all the Green Lantern animated movies, the alternate universe movies animated, 10 times better. Now, I did hear a rumor that she was going to get animated. I did hear this rumor. Also, and this is going to sound terrible, I think that Naomi is a response to Ironheart.
In what way?
So Ironheart is Marvel. Ironheart is a young, black, smart girl who recreates Tony Stark's Iron Man suit, and therefore joins the Young Avengers, technically, and like she works from there. And the popularity of the young, black, smart girls of Marvel, because they also have the opportunity to give us Moon Girl, which they should, because she is the smartest person in the Marvel world. But like, those are, and then Shuri, like the smart black girl thing, is working for Marvel. DC has no response to that.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
And instead of doing smart, I'm not saying she's not smart. I'm just saying like the present time we know that she's got super strength, and I know her power is like energy specific. Like she is an energy, I forgot the name of it. She's got energy based powers. So
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. That's my theory. Like there's nothing to prove this. That is literally just my theory. But I feel like they have something really good to go on here because they could put her in Young Justice. Technically, Young Justice is just teenagers with superpowers in the
Yeah.
Justice League. So they could totally figure out a way to put her in there.
They probably won't.
I'm trying to be optimistic because I just want them to focus on animated.
Yeah, they won't.
Because with animated, you can keep like I just rehire the illustrator from
They
here.
want the live action money that Marvel gets.
I know. But this is the thing. Anime movies go into the theater and make tons of money. I will go to the theater to watch a DC animated movie if it's like a full like 2 hours. I will watch it.
But here's the thing, you get the audience of the fans, but what live action does is it brings people who aren't really like hardcore comic fans, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what direction we're moving with
I don't
Naomi.
have a
I'm
lot of
gonna
faith in DC, so this is gonna
I
sound
don't
horrible.
either.
I'm
That's
just
the
kind of
problem. It's just like I don't really it's like
just
I'm
like
trying to be optimistic, but my brain is like, I mean, it's DC.
exactly.
Like
The
we
bar is
saw
in
what
hell
they
with
did with
them.
Justice League. We
Yeah.
saw what they did. So yeah, apparently Naomi was 13. It was 13 episodes long, and it went from January 11th to May 10th.
That's not too bad.
I don't know. I might watch it one day if it comes to like Hulu or something.
It
But
sounds
let me
like they
see.
canceled it in between this in the middle of the first season.
Yeah, they did.
January. Ooh, ooh. It must have been
So
bad then. They pulled the plug on it so quick.
So they did the same thing when Batgirl became black. So I'm actually not believing that. The comic book world is very racist, and they think that all of the diversity of superheroes is woke. So not surprised. Naomi season 2 came out April 12th, 2022.
Oh, we got a season 2. Okay.
And yeah, so it's $3.99 on DC.com. I prefer the hardbacks of these books.
Yeah.
That's just a personal preference. But what is the premise for this one? So we still have the same art. Art is still by Jamal Campbell, so that's good. It's what is the premise of part 2? Oh, see, this is gonna sound terrible. I
What?
watched Black Lightning because Black Lightning, the man who plays Black Lightning, is fine.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Some of the characters were just fine. But you are after season 2, I was so over it. I was like, I can't. Because Black Lightning is so much more than what they gave him in his series.
Yeah.
Like
I never
at
watched
one
it. I
point,
watched like clips, like they would have clips of it. But I never actually watched the full episode.
yeah,
It just didn't pull me in. It wasn't like enough for me
literally watched
to
it because
invest
he's
time.
fine. And
I
the
believe
woman
it.
that was playing his wife was also fine.
I believe it.
Like they were beautiful people. I was like,
That's
God,
like
y'all
a
are
good enough reason, definitely. But I was just like,
yeah. Hey Ted.
hey,
Yeah.
Tim.
I wanna have faith,
I don't.
but currently the live action DC track record is just so god awful.
Pretty bad.
Like we were good with Arrow until Arrow started getting crazy, and then Flash for like the first like 3 seasons, but you can only fight Nega Flash like 8 million times before I get tired of it. So I don't know. And then Supergirl was boo boo. It just, I'm scared.
They're struggling. They're struggling
Like,
over in the DC world. They are
yeah,
struggling.
it's just, I don't know. I feel like maybe again taking from Marvel, they might need to hire different writers or different directors. It shouldn't just be black. It shouldn't just be black characters and diverse characters and everything still being written by white people. Because Vina's right. Like I got tired of Black Lightning because I felt like it's like
You know
all
what
the
it
other
is?
superhero shows didn't have to deal with some of the real life stuff that we have to deal with. I'm like, I'm tired. Like, I know that we're black and I know there's like black stuff we have to deal with, but like, why is this a part of the storyline of my superpowers?
Well, it's kind of like the problem with having white people write black characters, period, is that they're writing what they think black people are like and what they think
Yeah.
the situations are like and the scenarios are like and what they think that, you know, they should be writing because of the character's race, as opposed to just writing the characters as just existing as people moving through the world and occasionally having to deal with certain things race related. I think that's like a huge difference. So
Yeah.
I can always tell when a black character is written by a white person. It's very obvious because it's very like, oh no, I was called the N-word at the bus stop today. Like it's you know, like, you know what I mean? Like it's very like you're reading it and like something's not quite connecting in your brain and you're just like you're pausing and you're kind of looking and you're kind of looking at the cover and you look at the author, you Google them and you're like, ah, okay. I feel bad saying that, but like that's just one of the issues. Like it's very just like I think this is what a black person would say and what they would deal with. So it's very
so mad at you right now with this robot voice. It's like, oh no, I am a white person writing about black people. And I'm
but
like, why do you keep
no, but the roboticness and the stiltedness is how it comes across when you're as a reader when you're reading it. You're like, what's happening right now? Like something's you can't put your or even if it's like you can't really even if it's not robotic, you can't quite put your finger on what's off, but you know something's off. You're like something's not right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all. Like, that's the biggest problem.
There are black people attached to this book. I
Yes.
don't know if there were black people attached to the show in terms of writing. I don't know that. But if I look it up, I probably will be disappointed. So I'm not going to look it up because if it's anything like the way that Black Lightning was on CW, then I understand why it got canceled so quickly.
Yeah.
I say that to say like I watched Black Lightning, because we can't get Static Shock. So like the closest we were gonna get is Black Lightning because there's so much drama and legal stuff around Static Shock that like we're probably never gonna get another Static Shock anything. So
that's sad.
Yeah.
I will say
Static Shock. There's a YouTube video online. Just go to YouTube and type in like what happened to Static Shock, and like you'll see it's crazy. But yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look through the chat.
Okay.
Let's see. Bree says sad she didn't get to this book. I will say that I got mine on Kindle Unlimited, and if you have a Kindle Fire or something where you can see the illustrations in color, or you could look at it on your phone. If you have the Kindle app, you can read it for free because it's on Kindle Unlimited for free.
I personally prefer, I prefer bind ups when there's graphic novels or comics, just because I like for them to fit on my shelf. And I feel like in order for the comics to like stay on my shelf and like not get damaged, I have to have like a bunch of them like pushed together.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like, it's secure.
You're making me want to buy the hard copy because it looks so
To
beautiful.
be fair, again, I think these illustrations are vivid. The color payout is phenomenal. I even feel like the way that they did like the cover overlay conveyed emotion in a very like so well. I think it's a really well done comic. I mean, I'm also obsessed with the illustrator. Jamal is one of my favorite like comic illustrators. His line work is something that I like try to emulate a lot. So I'm like, I'm biased. I'm gonna buy it because Jamal drew it.
Yeah.
So
Understandable.
I'm buying season 2. I'm
It's
buying season
beautiful.
2 as well.
Oh, I need to keep reading. I need to know what happens with Mr. Z. I need to know.
I love that. First of all, I love that we automatically gave him a nickname because remembering his name was too much. I have like I'm gonna make predictions here just so that I can come back
Okay.
and like repeat and then see if I was right. So prediction number 1, in terms of Naomi as a character, I hope her character development like I know that she's obsessed with Superman, but I really hope that they don't play on that too much. I really hope that they like let her develop with her own power because Superman's powers are not energy based. That's not
Yeah.
how Superman rolls. Like they purposely set aside to say that her powers are different. So I really hope that we get to see different. I want to see her try to act like Superman because she thinks that's what you're supposed to do as a superhero, but I want to
Yeah.
see it fail actually. Like I want to see her make blunders because she is a 17-year-old who just figured out that she's got super crazy powers. So I want mess ups. Like I don't want to go from just no powers to being like I've got it all under control. No, I want
Mhm.
her like accidentally crashing into a building kind of messing up. I know
I'm
that's terrible.
excited to see her training sessions with her dad and Dee. I think that would be really interesting to show like a montage of the training and how it goes because her dad was like, I have the experience in the background, I can train you. And then Dee was like, and I can train you for real. And I was like, I'm dead.
Again, I love him.
He's
I
my
also want
favorite character.
I want him to like get out of the garage.
I just want him to find a family or like friends or a
Not even
life.
find a
I don't
family.
know.
I just want somebody to want to crack open a beer and talk to the poor guy.
He needs to be adopted. I was like, adopt D. Please
Like, we
adopt
love
him into
you.
his family.
I don't want them to use the friend trope at all.
What's that?
So you know, and sometimes in like superhero movies and superhero comics, like um the friend will either be captured and held hostage
Oh, yeah.
or um her or the main character and the best friend will get in some type of like crazy argument and like the best friend will somehow betray them. I don't want either
Yeah,
one of those to happen.
agreed.
I want Annabelle to stay the friend who's totally down with her best friend being an alien.
I feel like it would be so out of character if all of a sudden Annabelle switched up. Like it would be like that would be weird.
I'm
So hopefully
I'm
that doesn't
aware
happen.
of that, but I'm just saying like there are some comics that definitely have a tendency to do that. And I just be sitting there like, we were
I want
all rooting for you.
Oh my god, I want more Akira. Her character is very fascinating. The one who saved her life and got her to that dimension of Earth or
Oh
that
yeah.
and who
That is
came and like
really
snatched her when Mr. Z was trying to like
yeah, then
kill
she just
her.
yeeted her through the portal.
And Kira was like, look, little girl, don't come back. I did not almost die to save your life for you to come back here. I was like,
Like that's again, all of this still happened in one night. So
yes,
I hope we see more of her and I hope that we see I hope that she gives more insight to her parents and we learn what her parents'
yes,
abilities actually were. Because I
agreed.
want to see like the two separate abilities came together to make her. So like what's the how? How did
I
that
want to
happen?
figure out Mr. Z's race because it's bothering me. It doesn't even really matter, but it's just bothering me.
I feel like by now
He's
he's so
always in
corrupt.
shadow. He's always in
Yeah, I'm about to
shadow, and
say,
I'm like,
I feel like by now Dr. Z is so corrupt that there's no need to see his face. Like the shrouded in darkness is supposed to signify how corrupt he is and how like irreparable.
Yeah, that's the word.
Irreparable? Yeah. How irreparable, like what he's done. Because remember, he committed mass murder before he got powers. After he got powers, he wiped out 14 of the 29 supers.
That's so sad.
So
It was so funny because like when the mom was telling her in the speech, like some of us just wanted normal lives. I 1000%, if that happened to me, if I was one of the random people, nobody would find out. I would go into hiding. I would go into the
remember,
underground.
she said that 29. She said 29 of them came forward. There could have been more, but only 29 of them came forward. I would have never been one of the 29. I would have
never. I would have been using my powers for dumbass shit, like cleaning my house and like making sure that I was like the first person through the drive-through, like dumb shit like that. Like I would not be
not first person at the drive-through.
Well, you be hungry. You're like, damn,
all of my powers would be used for basic shit.
I'd be like, I do not want to wait in this 45-minute cookout line. Let me just use my powers to go to the front. Like, not.
You would be on the news like so quick. Like your hidden thing would last for like 2 seconds. The moment you used your powers to get in front of a line at a drive-through, not only that, but you would be labeled a douchebag. So
I'm just saying, like, there's just so many other enjoyable ways you could use your superhero powers than trying to be saving people and getting killed.
Thank God you were not one of the people to get powers. Well, Shalay was like, we're all gonna burn anyway. Why do I need to exert myself?
I'd be like, look.
See, I would do this. I would be using my powers to transport myself all over. Listen,
right.
Teleportation existed. It's the way that every Friday night I would teleport to another country.
That would be amazing.
Right. Oh, that would be so good.
That would be amazing.
So the last question before we end today and do announcements really quick. If you had a superpower, if the radiation hit us and we actually got the superpowers we were promised, what superpowers would you have and why? That also goes for the question in the chat too. Mine is obviously extreme teleportation.
I feel like mine would have something to do with time, like being able to bend time, stop time, speed time up, something like that.
So, like, as in controlling the timeline type of power time, or like being able to, what is the name of the superhero that can alter time? Either way, you want to mess with time?
I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'd be like, you know what?
You're not a comic book person at all because I'm gonna make you watch something now because you said you want to play with time.
I would just be like, you know what? Mr. Z was about to get electrocuted, so we're just gonna rewind this back and then speed through so he can get electrocuted, so we don't have to.
If you rewind back to that time, you no longer have powers either.
Oh, that's true.
See?
Oh, this is hard.
Yeah, that's all. I was like, not you wanting to play with time.
Okay, maybe not time. I have to think now. Now I gotta think.
Okay, I'm gonna read some of the comments. I hate driving, and yes, I would teleport to other countries. See, on it. Water-based powers, definitely. Why water-based powers? Oh, I want to be able to survive under the sea and manipulate it. All right. My superpower would be to heal mentally and physically if possible. That's all deep. Mine was just because I hate driving. Y'all are thinking of really good ones.
Yeah, I was really stuck on the time one. Now I'm like, I don't know.
I'm trying to think. If I didn't teleport, what would I want? I would actually want energy-based powers.
Maybe the ability to be able to manipulate matter, like make things like,
okay. You know. I can see that. That makes sense. That's way more probable than wanting to be a time master. Because in every scenario, person who manipulates time, it never works out for them. Like
The way
there's not
that you
one
destroyed my
story
dreams.
where it worked out.
You destroyed my dreams in one sentence. I was like, oh, never mind.
If I can survive under the water, I don't have to drive to those other countries. See? Okay.
That reminds me of that whole underwater civilization in Black Panther 2.
Oh, Tolakan, listen.
Yeah, the Tolokans. If you haven't seen the movie, oh well. You had a lot of time. You had a lot of time to go. It has been out since November.
Well, anyways, next comment says, I have no idea. Elemental powers would be cool. I'm leaning towards water or fire. See, when I ask questions like that, that becomes like a whole Avatar question. So I was trying to not go there, but it's very possible that I could go into the whole thing. I would be an earthbender, but anyways.
It's so funny how you think about Avatar, and I kind of do sometimes. And I think about Captain Planet.
Yo.
Water.
You know what? I despise you. You have gone from controlling time to Captain freaking Planet. My nose ring just came out.
They need to make a live action of that.
No, they do not.
They do. That shit would be hilarious.
Who would play Captain Planet?
I don't know.
Exactly. There is a no for me. No.
It would be very.
What's gonna happen is they're gonna pick like no, absolutely not. I'm not even going there. Absolutely not.
I think that would actually be a really fun movie. I'm like, if they can do Ant-Man and all this other nonsense, they can do Captain Planet.
No, Marvel has done Ant-Man. Who would pick up Captain Planet?
Nobody.
Okay.
They would, you know what? It wouldn't be done well, but if they actually dedicated themselves to doing a good job, it could be actually really interesting.
I mean, yeah. Thanks for coming, Whitney.
Yes, thank you so much.
So while we're having these random conversations, we know that it's Sunday and you might want to like prep. I don't know. Some people have to go to work tomorrow. But it's MLK tomorrow. So if you don't go to work, I hope that you get some time to relax. Just a reminder, the first book that we are reading for first quarter 2023 is We Are the Origin by C.M. Lockhart. If I'm not mistaken, the audiobook is also on Scribd.
Nice.
And the special edition of this book is out on C.M. Lockhart's website. So if you want to get a special edition of this book, you might want to go snag one. I don't know how long they're going to be. I just saw that she announced it on her Instagram.
Yes.
We will be reading this in March. We also will be seeing you guys again, not this week, but next week for another podcast. Let me double check that 1 second because all of my calendars are in my book bag. So we will be meeting again. Okay, Monday, January 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be meeting for another podcast chat. No, Deja, we have not started the book yet. I have to start the book in February so that I can properly tab it up and still be able to have it fresh in my mind by the time the book chat happens. But if you are reading it and you have thoughts and you want to talk to somebody about it, you can always DM me. I'm still going to read the book anyway. So
yeah. I need to figure out if I want to do the audiobook or if I want to actually read the book. Because I usually prefer audio for our group reads. For our book club reads.
It depends. If I start reading it and I realize I'm struggling with name pronunciations and stuff, I might do a hybrid read where, you know, like when I'm in the office, I'll listen to it. And then when I'm at home, I'll just read it. But I got my tabs. So I'm ready to tab it up, take some good old notes.
Yeah, I like having the physical book for like referencing, but I love listening to the audiobook for like the whole storytelling experience. So I'm torn.
Okay. Some people have already read it. So Vina, of
That's
course, I
exciting.
have the ebook for We Are the Origin, so this forces me to read it in a timely manner. Yay, reading books that we already purchased. Look at us.
Mm-hmm.
Pat said, read it last year when it came out, really enjoyed it, can't wait for the next book. Deja said, I beta read it, so I'm curious to see the final product. Okay,
Nice.
well then I hope all of you guys join us for this talk and chat. And I think that's all of our announcements for today.
Announcement.
If you missed our first podcast of the year, I highly recommend you go check it out. It was very entertaining. We got a good bunch of laughs out of that.
We did.
And it
If
went
you
on
just
way
want
longer than
to,
we planned.
if you just want to unwind and giggle and laugh, then definitely go check out the playback. It should be posted on our channel.
Yes. But other than that, we hope you guys have a very good evening and stay black.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.